The mop bucket hit the floor with a metallic crash that echoed through Peterson Air Force Base's cafeteria like a gunshot. Dirty water exploded outward in a gray wave, spreading across the tile floor in slow motion. 40 officers froze mid-conversation. Kitchen staff stood motionless behind the serving counter, the morning coffee and breakfast plates forgotten. Admiral Nathaniel Cruz stood over the overturned bucket, his polished shoes untouched by the spreading puddle. His face carried the kind of authority that came from 2 decades of commanding men in combat zones. Salt and pepper hair, 3 stars on his shoulder boards catching the fluorescent light. A man who'd sent thousands into battle and never questioned his right to do so. The woman holding the mop didn't move, didn't flinch, just stood there in her gray janitor's uniform, the fabric worn thin at the knees and elbows. Work boots that had seen better years. Hair pulled back in a practical bun. No makeup, no jewelry. Nothing that would draw attention or suggest she'd ever been anything other than invisible. Reese Calloway was 28 years old, though the lines around her eyes made her look older. 3 hours of work cleaning this cafeteria. 3 hours of pushing that mop cart from table to table while officers laughed and talked about missions and medals and moments of glory she could never share. 3 hours that had just been erased by one deliberate kick. "Clean it again," Cruz said. His voice carried across the silent room. Not loud. Didn't need to be. Authority didn't require volume. "Or are you deaf, janitor?" Reese's fingers tightened on the mop handle. The wood was smooth from years of use, worn down by hands that had held it before hers. Hands that had also cleaned up after people who looked right through them. She didn't answer. Experience had taught her that silence was safer. Words could be twisted. Silence couldn't be used against you. "What's the matter?" Cruz stepped closer, close enough that Reese could smell his cologne. Expensive, the kind that came in bottles with French names. "Cat got your tongue? Or maybe you're too busy pretending to be somebody." A few officers shifted uncomfortably, the younger ones, the ones who still remembered what it felt like to be on the bottom, looking up. But they didn't speak, didn't intervene. The chain of command was sacred. You didn't question an admiral, not in public, not ever. "Let me guess," Cruz continued. His voice dripped with mockery now. "You've got a call sign too, right? All the wannabes do. Probably gave it to yourself. Something tough sounding to make up for pushing a mop at your age." Reese lifted her head slowly. Her eyes found Cruz's face, locked onto his gaze with an intensity that made him blink. Just once. Just for a second. But it was enough. "Silent 6, she said. 2 words. Quiet. Calm. With the weight of a confession behind them. The temperature in the cafeteria dropped 10 degrees. Cruz's face went pale. Not gradually, all at once. Like someone had opened a valve and drained the blood right out of him. His mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. No sound came out. Captain Rodriguez, a young officer sitting near the window, choked on his coffee. The liquid sprayed across his plate. He coughed violently, eyes watering, staring at the janitor like he'd just seen a ghost materialize in front of him. The kitchen staff exchanged glances, silent questions passing between them. Who was Silent 6? Why did the Admiral look like he'd just been shot? Colonel Garrett Bishop stepped out from behind a support pillar, 62 years old. Ramrod straight posture despite the decades, gray crew cut, face carved from granite. A career soldier who'd seen everything from the First Gulf War to the chaos of Iraq. He moved with the deliberate precision of a man who'd spent his life in combat boots. "Admiral," Bishop's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "I believe you owe this woman an apology." Cruz couldn't look away from Reese. His hand trembled slightly at his side. "What are you talking about?" "You don't remember her face," Bishop said. Not a question, a statement. "Most people don't." She made sure of that. "Classified operations tend to erase faces, turn heroes into ghosts." He paused. "But you remember the call sign, don't you, Admiral? Silent 6. The medic who pulled you out of Fallujah when everyone else wrote you off as dead. The cafeteria wasn't silent anymore. It was something beyond silence. A vacuum where sound used to exist, where breath used to happen, where hearts forgot to beat. Crew's lips moved soundlessly. Then, barely a whisper. March 15th. March 15th, 2008, Reese said. Her voice remained calm, professional, like she was reciting mission parameters instead of the day she'd saved a man's life. Fallujah, second battle. Your convoy hit an IED at 1300 hours. Your Humvee flipped. You were trapped in the back seat with a compound fracture to your left femur. Bone punched through the skin. Femoral artery compromised. You were losing approximately 1 unit of blood every 3 minutes. The words fell like hammer blows. Precise, clinical, devastating. Insurgent fighters were closing in, Reese continued. Radio reported 15 minutes out, maybe less. Extraction bird was 40 minutes away. Everyone on that street was supposed to die. Cruz's hand found the edge of a table, gripped it. His knees looked ready to give out. But you didn't die, Bishop said quietly, because this woman crawled into that burning Humvee while bullets tore through the metal around her. Because she applied a tourniquet with one hand while returning fire with the other. Because she dragged you 3 miles through Sniper Alley to an emergency landing zone while carrying 80 pounds of gear and your 200-pound unconscious body. A tear slid down Cruz's cheek. Unexpected, unbidden, the kind of tear that came from a place too deep to control. You told me something, he whispered. When they were loading me onto the bird, I was barely conscious, couldn't remember my name, couldn't remember where I was. But you leaned in close and you said, his voice cracked, "You're going home, sir." Reese's voice remained steady. "You're going home." The Admiral's legs gave out. He caught himself on the table, but barely. Bishop moved to steady him, but Cruz waved him off. Pride, even now, even after everything. "I tried to find you," Cruz said. "For years. I asked everyone, called in every favor. But they told me it was classified. Told me the medic who saved me didn't exist in any official record. I thought maybe I'd hallucinated the whole thing. That my brain invented an angel because the truth was too ugly to remember." "No hallucination," Bishop said. "Just classification." Silent Six ran 47 rescue operations across 3 tours. Saved 93 American lives. Never lost a single patient under her care. The kind of record that gets you nominated for medals. The kind that also gets you buried in black ink and redacted files because politicians don't like explaining why their wars required so many heroes. Cruz looked at Reese like he was seeing her for the first time. Really seeing her. Not the janitor, not the invisible woman in the gray uniform, but the warrior who'd carried him through hell. "Why didn't you tell me? 3 years you've been working here. 3 years mopping floors while I walked past you every single day. You could have said something, could have asked for anything." Reese bent down and picked up the overturned bucket, set it upright. The water had stopped spreading, settled into a dark stain on the clean floor. "Because I didn't save you to collect a debt, sir." She met his eyes again. "I saved you because that's what I swore to do. That others may live. It's the pararescue motto. Still means something to some of us. But this," Cruz gestured helplessly at the cafeteria, the mop, the gray uniform. "This is what you chose? After everything?" Reese pulled a photograph from her pocket, worn at the edges, creased from being folded and unfolded countless times. She held it out so Cruz could see. A little girl, 6 years old, brown curls, missing her front tooth, standing in front of a yellow school bus with a pink backpack that looked too big for her small frame. "Her name is Lily," Reese said. "She's 6. Her father was killed in Afghanistan 5 years ago. Took an RPG while providing overwatch for a convoy in Helmand province. He died instantly. Didn't feel anything. That's what they told me. Like that makes it better somehow. Cruz stared at the photograph. His hand reached out, hesitated, then touched the edge of the picture with something close to reverence. I was deployed when it happened, Reese continued, running missions in Syria, pulling down pilots out of ISIS territory, doing the job I was trained to do, the job I was good at. And while I was being Silent Six, being the hero, being everything the Army needed me to be, my daughter was growing up without a father, starting to forget what his voice sounded like, starting to ask her grandmother why Mama was never home. She took the photograph back, slipped it carefully into her pocket, right over her heart. So I made a choice, Reese said. No more missions, no more call signs, no more being the warrior who's never there when it matters. Lily needed a mother, not a ghost, not a medal, not a story someone tells at a memorial service. She needed someone to pick her up from school at 5 o'clock, someone to make dinner at 6, someone to read her stories at 7 and kiss her forehead at 8 and promise that tomorrow will come. The cafeteria had gone back to that impossible silence, the kind that made ears ring. This job has good hours, Reese continued. Benefits. The daycare is 3 blocks away. I can afford a small house in a safe neighborhood with a yard where Lily can play. We have a routine. We have stability. We have each other. That's worth more than any medal, Admiral. Worth more than any call sign. Cruz pulled a business card from his jacket, expensive cardstock, embossed lettering. He held it out with both hands like he was offering something sacred. If you ever need anything, he said. His voice was thick with emotion. Medical bills, school tuition, a recommendation, a job that doesn't involve. He looked at the mop bucket. Anything. You call me, day or night. That's not a request. That's an order from a man who owes you his life. Reese took the card, studied it for a moment, then slipped it into her pocket next to Lily's photograph. Thank you, sir. Admiral Nathaniel Cruz straightened to attention. 52 years old, 3 stars, commander of Peterson Air Force Base, a man who'd led thousands of soldiers and received salutes from generals. He brought his hand up in the crispest salute of his career, held it, waiting. Reese looked at the salute, at the man offering it, at the 40 officers watching, at this moment that wanted to be something it couldn't be. I'm a civilian, sir. Her voice was gentle, almost apologetic. I can't return that salute. But she nodded, once, slow, with a respect that went deeper than any salute could reach. Cruz held the position for 5 more seconds, then dropped his hand, turned, walked toward the cafeteria door with his shoulders square and his head high, trying to look dignified, trying to look like an admiral, failing completely. The door swung shut behind him. Reese stood alone in the spreading puddle of dirty water. 40 officers staring, kitchen staff frozen, the mop handle still gripped in her calloused hands. Colonel Bishop approached slowly, a man who'd seen heroes die and cowards live, and everything in between. You did the right thing, he said quietly, getting out, choosing Lily. Not everyone can make that choice. Most of us don't even realize we have a choice until it's too late. How's retirement treating you, Colonel? It's not. Bishop's face was grim. That's why I'm here. Something in his tone made Reese's combat instincts flare. The same instinct that had kept her alive through 3 tours. The same instinct that screamed warnings before IEDs detonated and snipers fired and mortars fell. Sir? Bishop glanced around the cafeteria, calculating who might be listening, who might overhear. Old habits from a lifetime of classified operations. Not here, he said. Can you meet me? Tonight? 2100 hours. The coffee shop on Platt Avenue. The one that stays open late. Colonel, I'm out. I told you that when I separated. I'm done with missions and operations and... This isn't a mission. Bishop's eyes were haunted, desperate. This is a father begging for help. My daughter is missing, Reese. and I think she's going to die if someone doesn't find her soon. The words hit like shrapnel, sharp, unexpected, cutting through every defense. Reese's hand tightened on the mop handle. What happened? 2,100 hours, Bishop repeated. Please. He turned and walked away before she could respond, left her standing in the dirty water with questions multiplying like bacteria in her mind. Reese looked down at the gray puddle, at her reflection broken by the overhead lights, at the ghost of who she used to be staring back from the surface. Silent 6, a call sign she'd tried to bury, a name that belonged to someone else. Someone who didn't have a 6-year-old daughter waiting at home. Someone who didn't read bedtime stories and pack school lunches and worry about parent-teacher conferences. She picked up the mop and started cleaning. Again. Because that's what janitors did. That's what mothers did. They cleaned up messes. They made things right. They kept going even when everything inside them wanted to stop. But her hands were shaking. And deep in her chest, something old and violent and necessary was waking up. The rest of the day passed in a blur of mop buckets and trash cans and floors that never seemed to stay clean. Reese worked through lunch, worked through her afternoon break, kept moving because stillness meant thinking, and thinking meant remembering, and remembering meant feeling things she'd spent 3 years learning to bury. At 16:47, she changed out of her janitor's uniform in the employee locker room. Jeans and a plain gray sweatshirt, the same clothes she wore every day. Anonymity as armor. The drive to Lily's daycare took 6 minutes. Reese knew every stoplight, every turn, could drive it blindfolded if she had to. She was always early, never late, never made Lily wait and wonder if Mama was coming back. Because Lily had already learned what it meant to wait for someone who never came home. The daycare was a cheerful building painted bright yellow with cartoon animals on the walls. Music played from inside, children's laughter, the sound of innocence that hadn't been broken yet. Reese parked and walked to the entrance. The door opened and Lily exploded out like a small missile. Brown curls bouncing, pink backpack trailing behind her, face split in a smile that could light up the darkest corners of any heart. "Mama!" Reese caught her mid-leap, lifted her high, spun her in a circle while Lily shrieked with joy. This moment, this exact moment, was worth every sacrifice, every mission turned down, every call sign buried, every identity erased. "Hey, sweetheart." Reese set her down but kept holding her hand. "How was school?" "We made airplanes." Lily thrust a crumpled piece of construction paper into Reese's face. "This one's yours. See? I drew you flying it." The drawing showed a stick figure in a paper cockpit, wings spread wide, flying toward a sun made of yellow crayon. The kind of sun only children drew, pure and simple and honest. Reese's throat tightened. "It's perfect, baby. Best airplane I've ever seen." "Better than the real ones at your work?" "Way better." Lily grinned, showing the gap where her front tooth used to be. The tooth fairy had come last week, left 2 quarters under the pillow. Lily had been so proud she'd shown the quarters to everyone at daycare. They walked to the truck hand in hand, Lily chattering about her day, about how Tommy had eaten paste again, about how the teacher read a story about butterflies, about how recess was too short and lunch was too long, and could they please get ice cream on the way home. "It's almost dinner time, Lilybug." "Please?" Lily deployed her missing tooth smile like a weapon. "Pretty please? With sprinkles?" Reese looked at her daughter's face. Those brown eyes, that innocent hope, the absolute certainty that Mama could make anything happen if she wanted to. In 48 hours, Reese might be on a plane to God knows where, might be running a mission that could get her killed, might be making choices that would take her away from this little girl who believed her mother could do anything. "Okay," Reese said. "Ice cream it is." Lily cheered. They drove to the shop on Main Street, the one with the pink awning and the bell that jingled when you walked in. The one that had been there for 30 years and would probably be there for 30 more. Stability. permanence. Things that mattered to a woman who'd spent her adult life moving from base to base, war to war, mission to mission. Lily got strawberry with rainbow sprinkles. Always strawberry, always rainbow sprinkles. 6-year-old consistency that made the world make sense. Reese got coffee ice cream and didn't taste a single bite. They sat at a corner table, just the two of them, mother and daughter, the most important mission Reese would ever run. Mama? Yeah, baby. Why do you clean floors? The question landed like incoming fire. Unexpected, dangerous. Reese set down her spoon. What do you mean? Tommy's dad flies planes. Sarah's mommy is a doctor, but you clean floors. Lily's forehead wrinkled in thought. Is that important? Every word out of Reese's mouth for the next 30 seconds would shape how her daughter saw the world, saw work, saw value, saw her own mother. You know what, sweetheart? Every job is important if you do it right. The people who fly the planes matter. The people who fix the planes matter. And the people who keep everything clean so everyone can do their jobs, they matter too. Like a puzzle? Exactly like a puzzle. Every piece counts. No piece is better than any other piece. They all work together to make the picture complete. Lily nodded slowly, processing. You're a good piece, Mama. Something inside Reese's chest cracked open. Thanks, baby. You're my favorite piece. I know. Lily went back to her ice cream with the absolute confidence of a child who'd never doubted her mother's love. Reese watched her eat, memorized the curve of her cheek, the way her tongue stuck out slightly when she concentrated, the strawberry ice cream on her chin. These details, these tiny, perfect details, were what mattered, were what made life worth living. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. One text message, unknown number. Check your mailbox when you get home. Come alone. Tell no one. GB. Garrett Bishop. The mission she'd been trying not to think about all day. The daughter he'd mentioned. The desperation in his voice. Reese deleted the text, put the phone away, focused on Lily. But the ice cream tasted like ash in her mouth. And somewhere in the back of her mind, Silent Six was already packing her gear. They got home at 18:15. The house was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a kitchen with linoleum floors that curled up at the edges, a living room with a couch from Goodwill, and a television that still had a VCR player built in. But it was theirs, paid for with Reese's janitor salary and her military disability check. A roof that didn't leak, walls that kept out the cold, a yard where Lily could play without worrying about IEDs or snipers or drone strikes. Safety, real safety, the kind most Americans took for granted and most soldiers never really found. Bath time, Reese announced. Do I have to? Unless you want to go to school tomorrow smelling like strawberry ice cream. Lily giggled and ran toward the bathroom. Reese followed, smiling, pretending everything was normal, pretending she wasn't thinking about the mailbox outside, about whatever Bishop had left there, about the choice she'd have to make. Bath, pajamas, teeth brushed, hair combed, the routine that kept chaos at bay. Story time! Lily bounced on her bed. Reese read 3 books, then 2 glasses of water, then 1 more story, then a serious discussion about whether unicorns could beat dragons in a fight. Lily argued for unicorns. Reese played devil's advocate. They debated like scholars, like this was the most important question in the world. Finally, Lily's eyes started to droop. Her words slurred. She fought sleep like an enemy she could defeat through sheer willpower. Mama? Yeah, baby. Are you going away? Reese's hand froze mid-stroke through Lily's hair. What makes you ask that? You have your thinking face, the one you get when something's wrong. Lily's eyes were already half closed. Tommy's dad went away for a long time. He was in the Army. Tommy said it was really hard. Every parent's nightmare. The moment your child asks the question you don't want to answer. The moment honesty and protection collide. Sometimes, Reese said slowly, moms have to do hard things, things that take them away from the people they love. It doesn't mean they want to go. It means they have to. Do you have to go? The mailbox was 50 feet away. Inside was information that would change everything. A mission, a call to arms, a chance to be Silent Six again. Or she could ignore it, burn whatever was in that envelope. Stay here, stay safe, stay with Lily. I might have to go somewhere for a little while, baby, just for a few days. Lily's arms wrapped around Reese's neck with desperate strength. Will you come back? Always. Reese held her daughter tight, breathed in the smell of strawberry shampoo and childhood innocence. I will always come back to you, no matter what. You hear me? Promise? I promise, little eagle. Cross my heart. Lily pulled back to look at Reese's face, searching for lies, finding none. Okay, Mama, but you better keep your promise, or I'll be really, really mad. Reese smiled despite everything. I know you will, baby. I know you will. She sat on the edge of the bed until Lily drifted off mid-sentence, the way children do, until the only sounds were her daughter's soft breathing and the distant hum of the refrigerator. Then Reese stood, walked to the door, paused at the threshold. I love you, Lily, she whispered, more than all the stars in the sky. Lily didn't stir, already lost in whatever world 6-year-olds visited in their dreams. Reese closed the door softly, walked through the house, each step feeling heavier than the last. The mailbox waited at the end of the driveway, black metal, rusting at the hinges. An ordinary mailbox in an ordinary neighborhood on an ordinary street. Reese opened it. Inside was a manila envelope. No return address, no postmark. Hand-delivered, just like Bishop said. She pulled it out, felt the weight, thick, multiple documents inside. Part of her wanted to burn it, right here, right now. Watch it turn to ash and blow away in the Colorado wind. Part of her needed to know what was inside. Silent Six won the argument. Reese went back inside, locked the door, checked on Lily one more time, then sat at the kitchen table under the single overhead light. The envelope opened with a sound like tearing fabric. Inside was a photograph, a letter, a USB drive, and coordinates written in Bishop's distinctive handwriting. The photograph showed a young woman, 19 years old, dark hair pulled back in a practical ponytail, bright, intelligent eyes, standing in front of a Syrian refugee camp with children clustered around her. She wore a press vest, carried a camera, smiled like someone who believed the world could still be saved. Reese flipped the photo over. Written on the back, Lydia Bishop, March 2015, Azaz District, Syria, last known location. The letter was short, handwritten, Bishop's words cramped and desperate. Reese, I know you're done. I know you made a choice. I respect that choice more than you'll ever know. But my daughter is missing. Lydia was embedded with the Free Syrian Army as a journalist, documenting the refugee crisis, trying to show the world what's happening. 3 days ago, she disappeared. No contact, no demands, no body. The State Department says she's dead. Collateral damage. Wrong place, wrong time. They've already written her off. But I know my daughter. She's smart. She's careful. She wouldn't just vanish. Someone took her. And I think I know who. The USB drive has everything I've gathered. Bank records, travel logs, communications intercepts. There's a network, Reese. Americans trafficking women out of conflict zones, using diplomatic cover, making millions. And I think Lydia stumbled onto it. I think she found proof. And I think they took her before she could expose them. I can't do this alone. I'm 62, my knees are shot, my hands shake. I can't run ops anymore. But you can. You're still Silent Six. You're still the warrior who saved 93 lives. I'm not asking you as your former commanding officer. I'm asking as a father. Please, find my daughter, bring her home. Garrett Bishop. Reese read the letter 3 times, then set it down with hands that wanted to shake but wouldn't let themselves. The USB drive was small, black, encrypted. She'd need a computer to access it, need time to go through the files, need to verify Bishop's intel. But the coordinates she understood immediately. Azaz District, Syria, 60 kilometers south of the Turkish border, ISIS territory, active combat zone. The kind of place where Americans disappeared and never came back. The kind of place Silent Six used to operate. Reese looked at Lydia's photograph. 19 years old, someone's daughter, someone who'd gone to a war zone trying to help, trying to make a difference, trying to do good in a world that rewarded evil. She thought about Lily sleeping in the next room, about the promise she just made, about coming home no matter what. She thought about her husband, killed in Afghanistan 5 years ago, doing his duty, following orders, never seeing his daughter grow up. She thought about the 93 soldiers she'd saved, the 47 missions she'd run, the call signs she'd earned through blood and fire and 3 tours in hell. Silent Six, a ghost, a legend, a warrior who specialized in impossible rescues. Reese picked up her phone, dialed the number on Admiral Crew's business card. He answered on the first ring. Calloway? I need a favor, Admiral. A pause. Name it. If something happens to me, I need you to take care of Lily, my daughter. Make sure she's safe. Make sure she knows I loved her. Make sure she understands why I had to go. The silence on the other end lasted 5 seconds. When Cruz spoke again, his voice was thick. Nothing's going to happen to you, Silent Six. You're the best there is. But if it does, Cruz interrupted, then I'll protect her with my life. You have my word, my solemn oath. Your daughter will never want for anything, never feel alone, never doubt that her mother was a hero. Thank you, sir. Where are you going? Syria, to find a girl who shouldn't have to die alone. Another pause. You need transport, gear, intel support? I'll let you know. Calloway, be careful. The world needs heroes like you. Lily needs her mother. I know, sir. That's why I'm coming back. Reese hung up, set the phone down, looked at the photograph of Lydia Bishop one more time. 19 years old, dark hair, bright eyes, someone's daughter. Just like Lily would be in 13 years. Reese stood, walked to the bedroom, opened the closet, pushed aside the civilian clothes until she found the duffel bag in the back. Olive drab, military issue, still packed with the gear she told herself she'd never use again. Body armor, tactical vest, medical kit, communications equipment. The tools of a warrior who'd promised to hang up her sword. Silent Six's gear. Reese pulled out the bag, unzipped it. The smell hit her immediately. Gun oil and canvas and memories of missions that still woke her up screaming. But underneath the fear was something else. Something she'd tried to kill but couldn't quite bury. Purpose. She checked her watch. 20:45. 15 minutes until her meeting with Bishop. Reese walked back to Lily's room, opened the door quietly. Her daughter slept soundly, peacefully, dreaming of unicorns and rainbows in a world where mothers always came home. I'll be back, sweetheart, Reese whispered. I swore it to you. She kissed Lily's forehead, breathed in strawberry shampoo one more time, then turned and walked away before she could change her mind. The coffee shop on Platt Avenue was nearly empty at 2100. A few college students, a couple on a date, a homeless man nursing a cup that had been cold for an hour. And in the corner booth, Colonel Garrett Bishop, 62 years old, gray crew cut, eyes that had seen too much, hands wrapped around a coffee mug like it was the only thing keeping him anchored to reality. He looked up when Reese walked in. Something like hope flickered across his face, then died when he saw her expression. You read the file, he said, not a question. I read the letter. Reese slid into the booth across from him. Haven't accessed the USB yet. but I will. Then I know your daughter is missing. I know you think there's a trafficking network. I know you want me to find her. Reese leaned forward. What I don't know is why you think she's still alive. State Department declared her dead. Most kidnapping victims in Syria don't last 72 hours. It's been 3 days, Colonel. What makes you think Lydia isn't already gone? Bishop's jaw tightened. Because I know my daughter. And because of this. He pulled out his phone, showed Reese a text message, sent 2 days ago, from an unknown number. Dad, scared, can't talk, they're listening, but I'm alive. GPS, 36.5853 north, 37.0625 east. Sewn USB and jacket. Everything you need. Don't trust state. Love you. Reese memorized the coordinates instantly. Azaz district. Same location as Bishop's intel. Could be a trap, she said. Could be someone using her phone to lure you in. Could be. Bishop's voice was steel. Or it could be my daughter fighting for her life. And I won't abandon her because I'm afraid of a trap. Reese studied his face. The desperation, the fear, the absolute certainty that came from a father's love. She'd seen that same look in the mirror every time she thought about Lily. I have conditions, Reese said. Name them. 1, I run this operation. You provide intel and support, but tactical decisions are mine. I don't care if you're a colonel or a general or the ghost of George Washington. In the field, I'm in command. Agreed. 2, we keep this small. 3 operators maximum plus you on remote. No official channels, no State Department, no CIA, no one who might have connections to this trafficking network. Already ahead of you, I've got 2 people I trust, former Delta and CIA, solid. 3, if this goes sideways, if we can't extract Lydia, if the situation becomes compromised, I walk away. I don't die for lost causes. I don't sacrifice my daughter's mother for someone else's daughter. Understood? Bishop's face twisted with pain, but he nodded. Understood, then I'm in. Reese stood. Send me the USB data. I'll review tonight. We meet tomorrow at 0600 to plan. Location of your choosing, somewhere secure. My house. Basement. It's swept weekly for bugs. Good. Reese turned to leave, then paused. Colonel, how old was Lydia when you deployed to Iraq? When you left her to go fight a war? The question landed like a knife between the ribs. Bishop's face went gray. She was 6, he whispered, the same age as Lily. Did she understand? Reese asked. Did she forgive you for choosing duty over her? For missing her birthday parties and school plays and all those little moments that matter more than any mission? Bishop couldn't finish. Think about that answer, Reese said quietly, because in 48 hours I'm going to be asking myself the same question, and I need to know if the answer is worth it. She walked out before he could respond. The night air was cold, clean, the kind of cold that burned in your lungs and reminded you that you were alive. Reese drove home in silence, checked on Lily one more time. Her daughter slept soundly, dreaming of airplanes and rainbows and a mother who always came home. I'll come back, Reese whispered, no matter what. She kissed Lily's forehead, then walked to her bedroom, pulled out the laptop she used for bills and grocery lists and normal civilian things. Plugged in Bishop's USB drive. The encryption broke after 3 passwords, military grade, but Reese still remembered the protocols. The files opened. Hundreds of documents, bank records, travel manifests, communications intercepts, photographic evidence, and the picture they painted was worse than Bishop described. A network, operating for 3 years, moving women out of conflict zones, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan, young women, Western women, journalists, aid workers, teachers, doctors, anyone in the wrong place at the right time, sold to private buyers, rich men in countries that didn't ask questions, disappeared into lives of slavery and torture and death, all facilitated by one man, State Department liaison to the Middle East, David Hoffman, 42 years old, 20 years government service, impeccable record, multiple commendations, the kind of bureaucrat who knew how to work the system, how to hide in plain sight, how to be a monster while wearing a flag pin. And Lydia Bishop had been investigating him, had proof, had evidence, had everything needed to bring him down, until she disappeared. Reese stared at Hoffman's photograph on the screen. Bland face, forgettable features. The kind of man you'd walk past 100 times and never remember. The kind of man who'd sold 12 women into slavery and slept soundly at night. Something cold settled in Reese's chest. Not anger. Anger was hot, undisciplined. This was something else, something colder and harder and infinitely more dangerous. Purpose. Silent Six had hunted terrorists, had extracted hostages, had run missions that didn't exist in any official record. But she'd never hunted someone like Hoffman, someone who hid behind bureaucracy and diplomatic immunity, someone who wore the same flag she'd bled for. Reese closed the laptop, looked at the duffel bag in the corner, at the gear she'd promised to leave buried. Then she looked at the photograph of Lily on her nightstand. 6 years old, bright smile, absolute faith that Mama could do anything. "Forgive me, baby," Reese whispered, "but some fights can't be walked away from." She picked up her phone, started making calls, the kind of calls that couldn't be traced, the kind that pulled ghosts out of retirement and warriors out of hiding. By midnight, she had her team. By 0200, she had a plan. By 0400, she'd written a letter to Lily. The kind of letter mothers wrote when they knew they might not come home. It sat, sealed in an envelope on the kitchen table, next to Lily's paper airplane drawing, next to a photograph of Reese in her uniform, before the world got complicated, before Silent Six became a ghost. The sky was starting to lighten when Reese finally crawled into bed. 3 hours until Lily woke up. 3 hours to pretend everything was normal. 3 hours before she had to tell her daughter that Mama was going away and might not come back. Reese closed her eyes, but sleep didn't come. Just memories, missions, faces of soldiers she'd saved, faces of soldiers she couldn't. And somewhere in the darkness, a 19-year-old girl named Lydia Bishop was waiting, hoping, praying that someone would come. Silent Six was coming, the ghost was rising, and God help anyone who stood in her way. Dawn broke over Colorado Springs like a wound opening in the sky, red and orange bleeding across the horizon. The kind of sunrise soldiers learned to hate because it meant another day of staying alive. Reese sat at the kitchen table with cold coffee and colder thoughts. The letter to Lily lay sealed and waiting, words she'd written in the dark, words that said goodbye without saying it, words that tried to explain why some promises had to be broken to keep others. The house was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the clock on the wall, each second bringing her closer to the moment she'd have to wake Lily, have to look into those trusting brown eyes, have to lie about where Mama was going and when she'd be back. Footsteps padded down the hallway, small feet, sleepy steps. Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, hair tangled from sleep, stuffed elephant clutched under one arm, eyes still heavy with dreams. "Mama, why are you awake? It's still dark." Reese opened her arms and Lily climbed into her lap without hesitation. Warm and small, imperfect, the weight of her pressed against Reese's chest like an anchor to everything good in the world. "Couldn't sleep, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups have trouble with that." "Bad dreams?" "Something like that." Lily yawned and snuggled deeper. "Want to hear my dream? I was flying, like a real eagle, way up high where the clouds live, and you were flying with me. We were racing. Who won? You did, but I let you because you're my mama, and mamas need to win sometimes." Reese held her daughter and watched the sun finish rising. Watched the world turn from darkness to light. watched another day begin that might be the last morning they spent together. "Lily, baby, Mama needs to tell you something." The little girl tensed. Children always knew. Some instinct warned them when the world was about to change. "You're going away." Not a question, a statement delivered with the absolute certainty of a 6-year-old who'd already lost her father. "Just for a few days, maybe a week. There's a girl who needs help. A girl not much older than you who's scared and alone. And Mama is one of the few people who can find her." "Like a superhero?" "No, baby, not like a superhero. Superheroes are pretend. This is real. And real is harder. Real is dangerous." Lily pulled back to look at Reese's face, searching, reading, understanding more than any 6-year-old should have to. "Are you scared, Mama?" The question deserved honesty. Children could smell lies the way dogs smelled fear. "Yes, I'm scared, but I'm going anyway." Because sometimes being brave doesn't mean not being scared. It means being scared and doing what's right anyway. "Like when I got my shot at the doctors? I was scared, but I did it anyway." "Exactly like that. You were so brave that day. I was so proud of you." Lily nodded slowly, processing. "Okay, Mama, you can go, but you have to promise you'll come back." Reese made an X over her chest. "I swear it. I will fight through anything to get back to you. Mountains, oceans, bad guys. Nothing will keep me from coming home." "Even dragons?" "Even dragons," Lily smiled. Satisfied, the world made sense again because Mama had promised. If only promises were bulletproof. They made breakfast together, pancakes with chocolate chips, Lily's favorite. The kitchen filled with the smell of butter and vanilla in normal Saturday mornings. Maria arrived at 0800, 63 years old, retired school teacher, widow, the grandmother Lily never had. She'd watched Lily before when Reese worked late shifts. Trusted, kind, one of the few people in the world Reese would leave her daughter with. "How long?" Maria asked quietly, while Lily packed her backpack with important things. Stuffed elephant, coloring books, the photo of her father in his uniform. "A week, maybe less if everything goes right." "And if it doesn't go right?" Reese handed her an envelope. Thick, legal documents inside. "Then everything Lily needs is in here. Custody papers, bank information, life insurance, contact numbers for Admiral Cruz at Peterson. He's expecting your call if I don't come back." Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Reese, you don't have to do this. Whatever this is, you have a daughter. You have a life here. Let someone else be the hero." "There is no one else. And if I don't go, a 19-year-old girl dies alone in a Syrian prison cell. Someone's daughter, Maria. Someone's Lily." "And what about our Lily? What happens to her if you die trying to save someone else's child?" The question hung between them like smoke from a gun barrel. Heavy, unavoidable, carrying the weight of every choice Reese had made and would make. "She'll know her mother died doing what was right. That has to be enough." Maria wiped her eyes. "You military people, always so sure sacrifice equals righteousness." "Not sure at all, but I made a promise to myself a long time ago that others may live still means something. Even when those others aren't your daughter?" Reese didn't have an answer for that, or maybe she did and didn't want to say it out loud. Lily came running back, backpack on, elephant secure, ready for adventure because to her, this was just another sleepover at Maria's house. "Bye, Mama. Love you." She hugged Reese tight. "Don't forget to fight the dragons." "Never, baby. I'll see you soon." Reese watched them drive away, watched until Maria's car turned the corner and disappeared, watched until the street was empty, and the only thing left was silence and the weight of choices made. Then she went inside, changed into tactical pants and a dark shirt, pulled her hair back tight, started loading gear into the duffel bag. Body armor, ceramic plates front and back, medical kit, tourniquets and quick clot and Israeli bandages. comms equipment, encrypted radio, tactical gloves, knee pads, everything Silent Six needed to run a mission in hostile territory. The guns came last. A Glock 19, reliable, simple, the kind of weapon that worked when everything else failed. Extra magazines, hollow point ammunition, not standard military issue, but Reese wasn't military anymore. She was something else now. Something without rules or oversight or anyone to answer to except herself. The burner phone buzzed. Text from Bishop. 2 words. 0600. Ready? Reese looked around her small house, at the refrigerator covered in Lily's drawings, at the couch where they read stories, at the kitchen table where they ate breakfast and talked about unicorns and dragons and all the important things in life. She picked up the letter she'd written, held it for a moment, then tucked it into the envelope with the custody papers Maria carried. If she died in Syria, Lily would read it someday, would understand, would forgive her mother for choosing duty over safety. Or she wouldn't, and Reese would be too dead to care. She grabbed the duffel bag, locked the house, got in her truck, and drove toward a war she'd promised herself she'd never fight again. Bishop's house was in a quiet neighborhood north of the base. Ranch style, well-maintained, American flag hanging from the porch. The kind of house career soldiers bought when they finally stopped moving, when they finally found a place worth staying. Reese parked in the driveway, grabbed her bag, walked to the front door. Bishop answered before she could knock. He looked like he hadn't slept, gray stubble on his jaw, eyes red-rimmed, coffee mug in one hand that probably wasn't his first. "Basement," he said. No greeting, no small talk, just mission focus. The basement had been converted into an operations center. Maps covered the walls, satellite imagery, communications equipment, 3 monitors showing real-time intelligence feeds, the kind of setup that cost more than Reese made in 5 years as a janitor. 2 people waited by the main table, both in their 40s, hard faces, calm eyes, the look of soldiers who'd seen combat and survived by being better than everyone trying to kill them. "Reese Calloway, meet your team," Bishop gestured. "Sergeant Declan Murphy, former Delta Force, 3 tours Afghanistan, 2 Iraq, specialist in close-quarters combat and tactical entry." Murphy nodded. Irish heritage written in his red hair and blue eyes. 6'2", built like a linebacker, hands that looked like they could crush concrete. "Ma'am," he said, voice like gravel in a blender. "Just Reese. No rank, no formalities. We're all ghosts on this operation." "Works for me," Bishop continued. "Dr. Sloan Barrett, CIA, Special Activities Division, intelligence analyst with field experience. She ran operations out of Baghdad for 3 years. Speaks Arabic, knows the terrain, knows the players." Barrett was mid-30s, blonde hair pulled back, athletic build, the kind of woman who looked like she belonged in a boardroom, but could probably kill you 6 different ways with a ballpoint pen. "I've read your file," Barrett said. "Silent Six, 47 missions, 93 lives saved. Impressive record." That was a long time ago. 3 years, hardly ancient history. Barrett's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Question is whether you've still got it. Whether 3 years mopping floors dulled your edge." The challenge hung in the air. Dominance games, territory marking, the eternal dance of operators figuring out the pecking order. Reese set down her duffel bag. "I ran 12 miles this morning before breakfast, did 200 push-ups, qualified expert with my Glock at 25 meters, then made pancakes for my daughter and got her ready to say goodbye. All before 0600. You want to test my edge, Barrett? We can step outside right now and see who bleeds first." Barrett's smile became genuine. "I like you. You'll do," Murphy laughed. "Told you she was solid, Sloan. Silent Six doesn't play." Bishop pulled up a chair. "Now that we've established dominance, can we focus on saving my daughter?" The room went quiet. Mission focus settling over them like armor. Bishop pulled up satellite imagery on the main monitor. Northern Syria, desert terrain, a compound surrounded by walls. This is where Lydia's GPS coordinates pointed. Azaz district, 60 kilometers south of Turkish border, currently controlled by a splinter faction of ISIS. Approximately 40 fighters in the immediate area. The compound itself houses 12 to 15 at any given time. Security? Restudy the images. Guard towers at each corner, machine gun emplacements, roving patrols. They're not expecting an attack, but they're not stupid either. Surveillance? Drones? Satellites? Limited. The compound is under a religious exemption. Officially, it's a mosque. Unofficially, it's a prison and trafficking hub. Hoffman has been using it for 2 years. Barrett pulled up financial records. Hoffman's been moving money through shell corporations. 4.2 million over 3 years. Payments from buyers in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar. Rich men buying Western women like collectibles. How many women? Reese's voice was flat, controlled. We've identified 12 missing persons who match the pattern. Journalists, aid workers, teachers, all disappeared from Syria or Iraq in the last 3 years. All with Hoffman's approval on their travel documents. And you think Lydia is there, at this compound? I know she is. Bishop's voice cracked slightly. The GPS coordinates match, the timeline matches, and yesterday I received this. He played an audio file. Static, background noise, then a voice, young, female, terrified. Dad, if you're listening, please help me. I'm in a basement. There are 4 other girls here. They took our phones, but I hid one. They're coming back. I don't have much time. Please, Dad, please. I don't want to die here, please. The recording cut off. Silence filled the room. Heavy, suffocating. Reese closed her eyes, heard Lily's voice instead of Lydia's, heard her daughter calling for help, heard the terror and desperation, and absolute certainty that no one was coming. When do we leave? Her voice was ice. Transport is arranged for 2200 tonight. Military flight to Incirlik Air Base in Turkey. From there we cross the border on foot. Kurdish Peshmerga will provide local support, but they won't cross into ISIS territory. Once we're in the compound, we're alone. Extraction plan? Murphy pointed to the map. Helicopter pickup here, 5 kilometers northeast of the compound. Turkish pilot, off the books, no questions asked. He'll wait 2 hours maximum. If we don't make the rendezvous, he leaves without us. And if we get separated, if someone gets wounded, if the mission goes sideways, the 3 of them exchanged glances. Unspoken understanding passing between operators who'd been in situations with no good answers. Then we adapt, Bishop said quietly, like we always do. Reese studied the satellite images, memorizing the terrain, guard tower positions, likely entry points, escape routes, running the mission in her head the way she'd run 47 others. But this time was different. This time she had a 6-year-old daughter waiting at home. This time failure didn't just mean her death. It meant Lily growing up without a mother, wondering why Mama didn't come back, wondering if she was worth fighting for. I need to make one thing clear, Reese said. If this mission becomes unrecoverable, if Lydia is already dead, or if the tactical situation makes extraction impossible, I'm calling it. I'm not dying for a lost cause. My daughter needs her mother more than your daughter needs a corpse. The words landed like a slap. Barrett winced. Murphy looked away. Bishop's face turned to stone. Understood, but we verify status before we abort. We don't assume, we confirm. Agreed. Now show me the infiltration plan. They spent the next 6 hours going over every detail. Guard rotations, communication protocols, medical contingencies, ammunition loads, water requirements, backup plans for the backup plans. By noon, Reese's head was full of coordinates and timing sequences and 1,000 ways the mission could fail. By 1400, her body was thrumming with adrenaline she couldn't burn off. By 1600, she was staring at her phone. wanting to call Lily, wanting to hear her voice one more time before stepping into the dark. But Maria had taken Lily to the park, to keep her distracted, to keep her from wondering why Mama wasn't there. Reese put the phone away, focused on gear prep, on weapons checks, on all the mechanical rituals that kept soldiers sane before combat. "You have kids?" Murphy asked, sitting beside her, cleaning his rifle with the methodical precision of a man who'd done it 10,000 times. "Daughter, 6 years old. Hard age to leave." "Every age is hard to leave," Murphy nodded. "I got 2 boys, 12 and 14. Their mom took them when I retired, said I was too damaged to be a father. Too many deployments, too many nightmares, too much war brought home." He paused. "She was probably right." "You still see them? Holidays, birthdays, awkward dinners where they don't know what to say to the stranger who used to be their dad." He set down the cleaning rod. "That's why I said yes to this mission, because Bishop's daughter is still alive, still has a chance. Mine already lost me and I was standing right there." Reese understood. Every operator understood. The way war carved pieces out of you until you didn't quite fit back into the civilian world. Until your own children looked at you like a stranger. "We bring her home," Reese said. "Lydia, we bring her home to her father. We don't let her become another statistic." Hoo-ah to that. They finished weapons prep in silence, then gear check, then comms verification. All the small rituals that kept operators alive in situations where inches and seconds determined who went home and who went home in a box. At 1900, Bishop brought down food, pizza, beer, the condemned's last meal served in a suburban basement. Reese ate mechanically, tasted nothing. Her mind already in Syria, already running the mission, already calculating the 1,000 ways to die and the one way to survive. "I need to tell you something." Barrett set down her beer. "About Hoffman, about what we're really walking into." The tone made everyone stop eating. "Hoffman isn't working alone. The trafficking network has protection. Someone in Washington, someone with access to classified intelligence, someone who's been feeding him information about investigations and operations." "You have proof?" Bishop's voice was hard. "Not yet, but the pattern is clear. Every time State Department gets close to Hoffman, the investigation stalls. Evidence disappears. Witnesses recant. It's not coincidence. Someone is protecting him." "Who?" "I don't know, but whoever it is has pull. Real pull. The kind that makes federal investigations evaporate." Reese felt ice forming in her stomach. "So even if we rescue Lydia, even if we get her home safe, Hoffman might walk, might keep operating, might sell more women because someone powerful wants him protected." "Unless we get proof," Barrett said. "Unless Lydia has the evidence she said she collected. The USB drive sewn into her jacket. If it exists, if we can get it, if it has what we need, then we can burn the whole network down." "Big if," Murphy said. "It's all we've got." Bishop stood, paced, the movement of a caged animal. "My daughter is in a Syrian prison cell being sold to the highest bidder because some bureaucrat in Washington wants to get rich. And we can't even touch him because he's got protection." He slammed his fist on the table. "What the hell are we fighting for if our own government is the enemy?" "We're fighting for Lydia," Reese said quietly. "That's all that matters right now. We get her out. We get the evidence. Then we worry about burning Washington to the ground." Bishop took a deep breath, nodded. "You're right. First things first. Mission focus." "We leave at 2200, Reese said. "Everyone gets some rest. We've got a long night ahead." They dispersed. Murphy to the spare bedroom upstairs, Barrett to the couch, Bishop to his office to stare at photos of his daughter and probably not sleep at all. Reese found a quiet corner in the basement, sat with her back against the wall, eyes closed but not sleeping, just existing in that space between waking and unconsciousness that soldiers learn to inhabit. Her phone buzzed. Text from Maria. Lily is asking for you. What should I tell her? Reese stared at the message, at the question that didn't have a good answer. She typed back, tell her Mama loves her more than all the stars in the sky. Tell her I'm thinking about her every second. Tell her I'll be home soon. She's scared, Reese. She knows something is wrong. Kids always know. Just hold her tight and tell her I'm coming home. Please. I will. Be safe. Come back to her. I will. That's my vow. Reese put the phone away, pressed her palms against her eyes, fought back the tears that wanted to come. Lily, 6 years old, bright smile, absolute faith that Mama could fight dragons and win. And here was Reese about to step into a war zone, about to risk everything for someone else's daughter, about to maybe break the promise she'd made. Reese stood, checked her gear one more time. Body armor, weapons, medical kit, everything in its place, everything ready. She was ready too, as ready as she'd ever be to go back to war. At 21:45, they loaded into Bishop's SUV, drove to a private airfield east of Colorado Springs. Civilian aircraft, no markings. The kind of plane that didn't exist in any flight logs. A C-130 waited on the tarmac. Ramp already down, interior lights off. Ghosts loading onto a ghost plane. The pilot didn't introduce himself, didn't ask questions, just handed them headsets and pointed to the cargo area. They strapped in. The plane's engines roared to life, the whole aircraft shaking like it might tear itself apart. Reese pulled out her phone. One last message to Lily. Good night, sweetheart. Sweet dreams. Mama loves you. Always and forever. She hit send, then powered down the phone, removed the battery. No communications from here on. No way to be tracked. No way to say goodbye if everything went wrong. The plane lifted off, banking hard, climbing fast. Colorado Springs falling away below them. The lights of civilization getting smaller and smaller until they were just pinpricks in the darkness. Murphy leaned over, had to shout to be heard over the engines. You good? Reese nodded, didn't trust her voice. First time back? Since I retired, yeah. It's like riding a bike, except the bike is on fire and you're in hell and everything is trying to kill you. Despite everything, Reese smiled. Thanks for the pep talk. Anytime, that's what teammates are for. The flight took 14 hours with one refueling stop in Germany. Reese dozed fitfully, dreamed of Lily, of Syria, of missions that went wrong and soldiers who didn't come home. Woke every time with her hand reaching for a weapon. They landed at Incirlik Air Base at 0430 local time. Turkey, still technically friendly territory, but getting less friendly every day. A Kurdish liaison met them on the tarmac. Young man, maybe 25, spoke English with a British accent. You are Bishop's team? We are, Reese said. I am Soren. I will take you to the border, but I cannot cross. ISIS kills Kurds on sight. You understand? We understand. Thank you for your help. Soren's smile was sad. American girls should not die in Syrian prison. If I had more men, I would help you free her. But I have family, children. I cannot die for strangers. No one is asking you to. Getting us to the border is enough. They loaded into a battered pickup truck, drove north through pre-dawn darkness. The landscape grew more desolate with every mile. Fewer buildings, fewer lights, fewer signs of civilization. The border was just a line on a map. No fence, no checkpoint, no guards, just desert stretching to the horizon. Soren stopped the truck. From here you walk, 4 kilometers to the compound. I have marked the route. He handed Reese a GPS unit. There are patrols. Be careful. They do not take prisoners. How long will you wait? Until dawn. If you are not back by then, I leave. The roads are not safe in daylight. Reese shook his hand. Thank you, Soren, for everything. Bring her home. The American girl. Bring her home to her father. They unloaded their gear, checked weapons one final time. The sky was starting to lighten in the east. Dawn coming whether they were ready or not. Barrett took point. She knew the terrain, had run operations here before. Murphy covered the rear, Reese in the middle. They moved in silence, spacing themselves 15 meters apart. Weapons ready, eyes scanning, every sense hyper-alert. The desert was cold. Temperature had dropped to near freezing during the night. Reese's breath misted in the air. Her fingers were numb despite the tactical gloves. 2 kilometers in, Barrett held up a fist. Everyone froze. Voices ahead, speaking Arabic, getting closer. They dropped flat, buried themselves in the sand, became part of the landscape. 3 ISIS fighters walked past. 50 meters away, a K-47's slung over shoulders, talking and laughing, probably heading back from patrol. They didn't see the 4 ghosts lying in the dirt, didn't sense the death that could have reached out and taken them. Reese's finger rested on her trigger guard. Light pressure, ready, waiting for the order that didn't come. Barrett let them pass, waited until they were out of sight, then signaled, all clear. They continued. 4 clicks became 3, 3 became 2. The compound appeared as the sun broke the horizon. Concrete walls, guard towers, exactly like the satellite imagery. But satellite imagery didn't convey the smell. Diesel fuel and human waste and fear didn't convey the sounds. Generators running, men shouting, dogs barking, didn't convey the wrongness, the sense that evil lived here and thrived. Reese studied the compound through her scope, counted guards, 12 visible, probably more inside. North wall is our best approach, she whispered into comms. Steepest grade, least visibility from the towers. I see 4 guards on the perimeter, Murphy said. 2 on foot patrol, 2 stationary. We wait for shift change. Guards get sloppy during transitions. They settled in, buried in the sand, watching, waiting, the sun climbing higher, heat beginning to build. At 0800 the guards changed, new fighters coming out, old fighters heading inside, confusion, disorder. The 30 seconds of chaos Reese needed. Move! They sprinted from cover, crossed 200 meters of open ground in 90 seconds, reached the north wall without being seen. Reese pulled out a grappling hook, swung it twice, released. It caught the top of the wall with a soft clink. She climbed first, hand over hand, 15 feet, 20, her arms burning, heart pounding. Reached the top, scanned the courtyard, 2 guards walking away. Backs turned. She dropped over the wall, landed in a crouch, weapon up, scanning. Murphy came next, then Barrett. They were inside, in the heart of ISIS territory, surrounded by men who would kill them on sight. No turning back now. Reese led them along the inner wall, moving from shadow to shadow. The main building was 50 meters ahead, 2 stories, barred windows, heavy steel door. That's where they'd keep prisoners. In the basement where screams couldn't be heard. Barrett pulled up beside her. 4 guards at the entrance. We'll need a distraction. Reese nodded, keyed her radio. Murphy, you're up. Murphy grinned, pulled a flashbang from his vest. 1 distraction coming up. He tossed it toward the far side of the courtyard. The grenade bounced twice, clattered against a metal barrel. Guards turned, shouted, raised their weapons. The flashbang detonated. Blinding light, deafening noise, chaos. Reese and Barrett sprinted for the main building, reached the door while guards were still disoriented. Barrett kicked it open. They flowed through, weapons up, scanning. Interior room, empty. Stairs leading down, the basement. They descended, 1 step at a time, clearing corners, checking sightlines, moving like shadows. The stairs ended in a hallway. Concrete walls, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. 3 doors, all closed. First door, Reese stacked on the left, Barrett on the right, Murphy covering the hallway. Reese tried the handle. Locked. She kicked it. The door flew inward. Empty room. Just a mattress on the floor and bloodstains on the wall. Second door, same procedure. Also empty, but this one had chains bolted to the floor. Dried blood, fresh urine. Someone had been here recently. Third door. Reese's hand touched the handle and she heard it. Soft, barely audible. Someone crying. She looked at Barrett, nodded, kicked the door. It exploded inward. And there, huddled in the corner, arms wrapped around her knees, face streaked with tears and dirt, was a young woman. Dark hair, 19 years old, press vest torn, camera broken beside her. Lydia Bishop. She looked up, eyes wide with terror. Please don't hurt me, please, please. Reese lowered her weapon. Lydia, your father sent me, Colonel Garrett Bishop. I'm here to take you home. Lydia stared, unable to process, unable to believe. My father? He never gave up on you, not for a second. Now we need to move. Can you walk? Lydia nodded, let Reese pull her to her feet. Her legs shook. She'd been sitting for days, maybe weeks. Stay close. Do exactly what I say, understand? Yes. They moved back up the stairs, Murphy covering, Barrett on point, Reese with Lydia. Reached the courtyard, started toward the north wall. That's when the alarm went off. Sirens screaming, floodlights activating despite the daylight, shouts erupting from every direction. Someone had found the empty cell. Run! Reese grabbed Lydia's hand. Go, go, go! They sprinted for the wall. Bullets cracked past them, impacting concrete, throwing up dust and fragments. Murphy returned fire, his weapon barking 3-round bursts, covering their retreat. Barrett reached the wall first, helped Lydia start climbing. More fighters pouring into the courtyard. 15, 20, weapons firing. A round hit the wall next to Reese's head, showered her with concrete chips. She fired back. Double tap, center mass. Fighter dropped. Another target, another double tap. Another body hitting the ground. Reese, come on! Barrett was over the wall, reaching down for Lydia. Murphy grabbed the rope, started climbing, firing one-handed, impossible shots, hitting anyway. Reese provided cover, emptied her magazine, dropped it, reloaded, kept firing. Murphy cleared the wall, disappeared over the other side. Reese grabbed the rope, started climbing. One hand, then the other. Feet finding purchase. Bullets everywhere. The air thick with them. 10 feet up. 15. Something punched her in the back. Hard. Unexpected. Pain exploded through her left shoulder. White hot. Searing. She'd been shot. Her left hand lost grip. Body swinging. Hanging by one arm. Below her, fighters were raising weapons. Taking aim. She was dead. Exposed. Nowhere to run. Then Murphy appeared at the top of the wall, his rifle barking. Precise shots, methodical. 3 fighters dropped. Climb! God damn it, climb! Reese found her grip again, pulled, screamed with pain. Her shoulder was on fire, blood running down her back. But she climbed. Reached the top. Murphy grabbed her vest, hauled her over. They dropped to the other side, landed hard. Reese's vision went white with agony. Can you run? Barrett was there, face tight with concern. Have to. They ran, Lydia between them, Murphy covering rear, the compound erupting behind them in chaos and gunfire. 4 kilometers to the extraction point. Reese had been shot, could feel blood soaking her shirt, could feel strength draining with every heartbeat. But Lily was waiting at home, and Reese had made a promise. The words became a rhythm, matching her footfalls, matching her labored breathing. A promise made to a child who believed promises couldn't be broken. She ran. Blood soaked through Reese's tactical vest with every heartbeat. Hot, sticky, the kind of wet that meant serious damage. Her left arm hung useless at her side, shoulder screaming with pain that threatened to drag her down into unconsciousness. But consciousness was the only thing keeping her alive right now. Consciousness in the image of Lily's face burned into her brain. 6 years old, missing her front tooth, waiting for Mama to come home. "Contact rear," Murphy's voice cut through the comms. "3 vehicles, technical trucks, mounted weapons, they're gaining." Reese risked a glance backward. Dust plumes rising in the distance. ISIS fighters pursuing, not giving up, not letting their prize escape. "How far to extraction?" Barrett's voice was steady, professional, but Reese could hear the tension underneath. She checked the GPS with her good hand. Numbers swam. Focused. 3.2 clicks. 12 minutes at current pace. "You're not going to make 12 minutes. Barrett looked at the blood trail Reese was leaving. Dark stains in the sand marking their passage like breadcrumbs. "That shoulder needs treatment now, or you bleed out before we reach the LZ. "Keep moving. I'll manage." "Reese." "I said keep moving." The shout cost her. Pain lanced through her chest, made her stumble. Murphy caught her before she fell. "Hoo-ah, Silent 6, but you're slowing us down. We need to stop. 90 seconds. Let me pack that wound." Reese wanted to argue, wanted to push through, but Murphy was right. She was hemorrhaging, leaving a trail any tracker could follow. And if she passed out from blood loss, they'd have to carry her. Would never make the extraction window. 60 seconds, she gasped. Not a second more. They took cover behind a low ridge. Lydia collapsed immediately. 19 years old, traumatized, terrified, pushed beyond any limit she'd ever known. Murphy pulled out his medical kit. "This is going to hurt. Everything already hurts, just do it." He cut away her vest, her shirt, exposed the wound. Entry hole in her left shoulder blade. No exit wound. The round was still inside, lodged against bone or muscle or something vital. Murphy poured quick clot powder directly into the wound. Hemostatic agent designed to stop bleeding fast. Designed for battlefield medicine when hospitals were hours or days away. Reese bit down on her tactical glove to keep from screaming. The powder felt like fire poured into an open nerve, burning, cauterizing, stopping the hemorrhage through chemical aggression. 30 seconds, Barrett called out. She was on the ridge, watching their back trail. Trucks are closing, half a click, maybe less. Murphy packed the wound with gauze, wrapped it tight, applied pressure that made Reese's vision go white. "That'll hold for now, but you need a surgeon, real surgery. This is temporary." "Temporary gets me home to my daughter, that's all I need." 60 seconds up, we move, now. They ran, Reese forcing her legs to pump despite the blood loss, despite the shock setting in, despite every survival instinct screaming at her to lie down, to stop, to let the darkness take her. But the darkness couldn't have her, not yet, not until Lily was safe with Maria, not until Reese had kept her promise. The GPS coordinates got closer. 2 clicks, 1.5. Murphy was half carrying Lydia now, the girl's strength completely spent. Bishop on comms, coordinating with the extraction bird. "Viper 2-3, this is Nomad Actual. We are 1 click from primary LZ. 3 minutes out. Be advised, we have wounded and hostiles in pursuit. Need immediate extract. Over." The radio crackled. Turkish accented English. "Nomad Actual, Viper 2-3. We have you on thermal. Also have 3 vehicles tracking you. ETA to LZ. 2 minutes. Can you make it?" Barrett checked their 6. "Vehicles are 400 meters back. They'll reach the LZ same time we do." "Viper 2-3, we'll be hot. Recommend you come in weapons free. Light up anything that's not us." "Affirm, Nomad. Coming in loud. Mark your position with IR strobes." Barrett pulled out an infrared strobe. Invisible to the naked eye but lit up like a beacon through night vision. She activated it and clipped it to her vest. The sound of rotor blades cut through the desert morning. Deep, rhythmic, the most beautiful sound any soldier could hear. The Black Hawk appeared over the ridgeline, flying low, fast, door guns already tracking the pursuing vehicles. There, Murphy pointed, LZ ahead, 200 meters. They sprinted, every step agony for Reese, blood loss making her dizzy, making the world tilt and swim. The Black Hawk flared, kicked up a sandstorm, settled into a hover 6 feet off the deck. The crew chief leaning out, hand extended. Go, go, go! Reese shoved Lydia forward. Murphy lifted her, practically threw her into the helicopter. Barrett went next, athletic, smooth, grabbed the crew chief's hand and hauled herself aboard. Behind them, the technical trucks crested the ridge, mounted .50 caliber machine guns swiveling toward the helicopter. Murphy turned, raised his rifle, started engaging, controlled bursts, aiming for the gunners. The Black Hawk's door guns opened up, M240 machine guns hammering, tracers arcing through the morning air, 7.62 millimeter rounds tearing into the lead truck, shredding metal, punching through the engine block. The truck exploded, fireball rising into the sky, pieces of ISIS fighters raining down. Murphy, move! Reese grabbed his vest, pulled him toward the helicopter. He fired one more burst, dropped a second gunner, then turned and ran. They reached the bird together. The crew chief grabbed Murphy's hand, hauled him aboard. Reese jumped. Her good hand found the crew chief's grip. He pulled. She was halfway in when the world exploded in pain. Something hit her right leg, hard, burning. She looked down and saw blood, new blood, brighter than the old. She'd been shot again. I got you. The crew chief's grip was iron. He pulled with strength that seemed impossible, dragged Reese into the helicopter despite the dead weight of her wounded leg. She collapsed on the deck, blood pooling beneath her. 2 gunshot wounds now, shoulder and leg. Her body trying to shut down, trying to give up. Go, get us out of here! Barrett was screaming at the pilots. The Black Hawk climbed, fast, banking hard, G-forces pressing everyone against the deck. The remaining ISIS trucks fired, bullets pinging off the helicopter's armor. One round punched through the thin skin near Reese's head, missed her by inches. Then they were out of range, climbing higher, the compound falling away behind them. Syria becoming a memory written in blood and sand. Murphy was over Reese immediately, cutting away her pant leg, exposing the new wound. Through and through. Entry and exit. The round had missed bone, missed major arteries, just torn through muscle and kept going. Lucky shot. Lucky miss. Another pressure bandage. Murphy was working fast, packing both wounds now. Reese had lost so much blood. Too much. Her vision was graying at the edges. Stay with me, Silent Six. Murphy slapped her face, hard. Don't you dare check out, not after all this. Not when we're clear. Lydia crawled over, 19 years old, rescued from hell, face streaked with tears. Please don't die, please. You saved me. You can't die. Reese tried to focus on her face, tried to speak, but her mouth wouldn't work right. Tongue too thick, words too heavy. Lily. Had to get home to Lily. Barrett was on the radio. Incirlic Medical, this is Viper 2-3. We have urgent surgical. Female, late 20s, 2 GSWs, shoulder and leg. Significant blood loss. Shock setting in. ETA 15 minutes. We're going to need a trauma team standing by. Copy Viper 2-3. Trauma team is spinning up. Direct to the pad. We'll be ready. 15 minutes. Reese had to stay conscious for 15 minutes. Then she could let go. Could stop fighting. Could rest. But 15 minutes felt like forever when every heartbeat was pushing more blood out of your body. Murphy had both wounds packed, had started an IV, combat lifesaver training, keeping Reese alive, buying her time. "Hang on," he kept saying. "Just hang on. We're almost there." Reese's hand fumbled for her vest pocket, for the photograph she kept there. Lily. Had to see Lily. Murphy understood, pulled out the picture, held it where Reese could see. Brown curls, bright smile, absolute innocence. "That's why you fight," Murphy said quietly. "That's why you don't quit. She's waiting for you. She needs her mama." Reese's lips moved, barely a whisper. "Tell her, I tried." "You tell her yourself. When you wake up, when you're home, you tell her how her mama fought through hell and came back. You hear me?" But the darkness was closing in, warm, inviting, offering an end to the pain. Reese's eyes closed. "No, God damn it, no! Medic, I'm losing her!" The crew chief pushed Murphy aside. Combat medic, knew what to do. Started chest compressions, checking for pulse, for breath, for any sign of life. "She's still with us, barely. Pulse is thready, breathing shallow. Come on, lady, don't quit on us now." The helicopter pushed its engines to the limit, flying faster than safety allowed, racing against death. Incirlik Air Base appeared ahead. Medical facility, trauma surgeons, real equipment, real medicine. The Black Hawk didn't slow down, just dove straight for the landing pad, flared at the last second, slammed down hard enough to make everyone's teeth rattle. Trauma team was waiting. Gurney, equipment, people shouting orders. They pulled Reese out, loaded her onto the gurney, already cutting away her gear, her clothes, exposing the wounds, starting new IVs, pushing drugs. 2 GSWs, one shoulder, one leg, lost approximately 2 liters. Pressure is 70/40, pulse 140. She's circling the drain. "Get her to OR1 now. Type and cross. 4 units O-neg standing by. Move people." They ran, pushing the gurney at full speed, through doors, down hallways, into an operating room that smelled like disinfectant in desperation. Reese's eyes flickered open one last time, saw bright lights, masked faces, heard voices talking medical jargon she didn't understand. Then someone leaned over her, face close. "You're going to be okay. We've got you. Just let go. Let us do our job." Reese tried to speak, tried to say Lily's name, tried to make them understand that she had to survive, had to go home, had made a promise. But the anesthesia was already taking hold, pulling her down into darkness that wasn't warm anymore, that was cold and absolute. Her last thought was of a 6-year-old girl with her father's grin, waiting for mama to come home and fight the dragons. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." Then nothing. Pain woke her, sharp, insistent, dragging her out of the dark like hooks in her flesh. Reese's eyes opened, fluorescent lights overhead, too bright. She tried to turn her head, couldn't. Neck brace, immobilized. Hospital room, American hospital, clean white walls, monitors beeping, IV poles, the antiseptic smell of modern medicine. She tried to speak. Throat was raw. Breathing tube had been there recently. Removed, but leaving damage behind. "Water," she croaked, barely audible. Movement beside her. A figure in military uniform standing up, coming into focus. Admiral Nathaniel Cruz, 3 stars on his shoulders, face etched with concern. "Welcome back, Silent 6. His voice was gentle. "You've been out for 18 hours. Gave us quite a scare." Reese tried to sit up. Pain exploded through her shoulder and leg. She gasped, fell back against the pillows. "Easy. You had surgery. Twice. Once for the shoulder, once for the leg. Surgeon said you're lucky to be alive. Another 30 minutes and you would have bled out." Memory flooded back. Syria, the compound, Lydia, getting shot, the helicopter extraction. "Lydia?" Her voice was stronger now. "Bishop's daughter? Safe, alive, already stateside, reunited with her father this morning. She's the one who told us what you did. How you ran into an ISIS compound with 3 operators and pulled her out. How you took 2 bullets and kept fighting. How you wouldn't let them leave her behind. Reese closed her eyes. Lydia was safe. The mission was complete. Worth the pain. Worth the blood. My daughter, Lily, where? She's fine. Still with Maria. I've been giving them updates. Told Lily her mama was on a special trip. That you'd be home soon. Cruz paused. I didn't tell her you almost died. Figured that's your story to tell. When you're ready. Relief washed over Reese. Overwhelming. Made her throat tight. Lily was safe. Didn't know how close she'd come to losing her mother. Could stay innocent a little bit longer. Thank you, sir. Don't thank me. You're the hero here. You kept your word, went into hell and brought Bishop's daughter home. Cruz pulled up a chair, sat down heavily. But we have a problem. The tone made Reese's combat instincts flare. What kind of problem? David Hoffman, the State Department liaison who facilitated Lydia's kidnapping, who's been running the trafficking network. Cruz's face was grim. He disappeared within 24 hours of Lydia's rescue. Someone tipped him off. Someone who knew the mission succeeded before official channels reported it. That's how deep the rot goes. The USB drive. Lydia said she recorded everything, sewn into her jacket. Did she? She had it. We recovered it. 3 years of evidence, names, transactions, bank accounts, recordings. Everything we'd need to prosecute Hoffman and his network. Cruz leaned forward. Except we can't find him. He's in the wind. Probably left the country. Probably had an escape plan ready for years. Reese felt cold spreading through her chest. So he walks. All those women, 12 that we know of, sold into slavery, and the man responsible just disappears. It gets worse. Cruz pulled out a tablet, showed her a news article. CNN, Fox, every major outlet. The headlines screamed, "Rogue military operation in Syria. Unauthorized rescue goes wrong. Civilians endangered." Hoffman went to the press before he ran, gave them a story, said you were a rogue operative, a vigilante, that you kidnapped Lydia as part of some conspiracy theory about trafficking, that the whole thing was unauthorized and illegal. But Lydia can testify, can prove. Hoffman has friends in Washington, high-level friends. They're running interference, casting doubt on Lydia's story, suggesting she's traumatized, suffering from Stockholm Syndrome, that she can't be trusted. Reese stared at the headlines, at her own photo, military service picture, younger, harder, back when she was still Silent 6. They're going to charge me. FBI already has a warrant, unauthorized operation on foreign soil, endangering civilian personnel, weapons violations. They've got a whole list. Cruz set down the tablet. They're treating you like a criminal instead of a hero. The unfairness of it hit like a physical blow. She'd risked everything, taken 2 bullets, almost died, saved an innocent girl from being sold into slavery, and now she was the villain. What about the USB drive, the evidence against Hoffman? That's where it gets interesting. Cruz smiled. Not a happy smile, something colder, more dangerous. I gave it to someone who can use it, someone who doesn't care about official channels or political pressure, or who gets embarrassed in Washington. Who? A journalist, Rachel Sullivan, Pulitzer Prize winner, spent her career exposing corruption. She's going through the files now, verifying everything, building a story that will burn Hoffman's network to the ground. Reese felt hope stirring, small, fragile, but real. When does she publish? 72 hours. She wants to be thorough, make sure every fact is nailed down, make sure it can't be dismissed or discredited. Cruz stood. But Reese, there's something else. Something on the USB you need to know about. The tone made her stomach drop. What? Lydia didn't just record Hoffman. She recorded his phone calls, his conversations. And in one of them, Cruz hesitated. In one of them, Hoffman was talking to someone in Washington, someone high up, someone protecting him, someone who's been feeding him classified intelligence about investigations into the trafficking network. Who? Senator Gregory Wallace, Intelligence Committee Chairman, one of the most powerful men in Washington. Cruz's voice was hard. He's been protecting Hoffman for years, running interference, making evidence disappear. And now that you've exposed the operation, he's coming after you. Reese processed that. A United States senator, protecting a human trafficker, using his position to enable the sale of American women. The recording proves it? Clear as day. Wallace telling Hoffman that Lydia Bishop is a problem, that she needs to disappear, that if she exposes the network, they're both finished. Cruz pulled up another file on the tablet. Listen, he hit play. Two voices, one she didn't recognize, the other. The Bishop girl is becoming a problem. She's asking questions, taking photographs, documenting things she shouldn't be documenting. I'll handle it, Hoffman's voice, calm, professional, same as the others. Make sure you do. If this gets out, if the trafficking network is exposed, we're both finished. I can't protect you if there's proof. Understood, Senator. She'll disappear. Just another journalist who got too close to the wrong story. The recording ended. Reese stared at the tablet, at the proof of conspiracy, of corruption at the highest levels. That's treason, she whispered. That's Washington. Cruz's voice was bitter. But here's the thing. Wallace doesn't know we have the recording, doesn't know Lydia survived, doesn't know his voice is on that USB drive. He paused. Until Sullivan publishes, he thinks he's safe, thinks he can keep operating, keep protecting the network. So what do? We finish this. We expose Wallace. We bring down the whole corrupt system. Cruz met her eyes. But first, we get you healed. Get you home to Lily. Let Sullivan do her job. And then what? Then we watch Washington burn. Reese spent 3 days in the hospital, physical therapy, pain management, learning to walk again on a leg that had been torn apart by a 7.62 millimeter round. Every step hurt. Every movement was agony, but she pushed through because Lily was waiting and Reese had made a promise. On the 4th day, the doctors cleared her for transport, medical evacuation back to the United States, back to Colorado, back home. Murphy and Barrett came to see her off, both looking tired, worn down by the mission and its aftermath. Hell of an operation, Silent Six. Murphy's grin was genuine. Best extraction I've ever been part of, even if you did get shot twice. Only twice. Must be losing my touch. Barrett laughed, then sobered. FBI is going to be waiting when you land. They're serious about the charges. You need to be ready for that. Let them come. I've got nothing to hide. And once Sullivan publishes her story, the truth comes out. Still, Barrett handed her a business card. This is my lawyer, best defense attorney in D.C. If you need representation, call him. He'll make sure you don't get railroaded. Reese took the card, grateful. Thank you for everything, for backing me up, for believing in the mission. That's what operators do. We back each other up. Barrett squeezed her shoulder gently. The good one. Take care of yourself, Reese. Take care of that little girl. You earned the rest. The flight home took 12 hours. Reese spent most of it staring out the window, watching continents pass below, thinking about what came next. FBI investigation, possible charges, media scrutiny, her face plastered across every news channel. But also, Lily, safety, the normal life she'd fought so hard to build. They landed at Peterson Air Force Base at 14:30 Colorado time. Reese was in a wheelchair. Legs still couldn't bear full weight, shoulder immobilized in a sling. 2 FBI agents waited on the tarmac. Dark suits, serious faces, the face of official displeasure. But standing between Reese and the agents was Admiral Cruz, 3 stars gleaming, face set in stone. "Gentlemen," he said, "this woman just returned from a combat zone where she saved an American civilian from ISIS captivity. She's wounded, she needs medical treatment, and she's not answering any questions without legal representation. Admiral, we have a warrant. I'm aware of your warrant, and I'm also aware that this woman is a decorated combat veteran who deserves better than to be treated like a criminal the moment she sets foot on American soil." Cruz stepped closer. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to let her go home. Let her see her daughter. Let her rest. And tomorrow, if you still want to ask your questions, you can schedule an appointment through her attorney. Like civilized people." The agents looked at each other, calculating, deciding if they wanted to fight an admiral on his own base. 24 hours, one agent finally said. "Then we expect her full cooperation." "You'll get it. Now get off my base." They left, frustrated but outmaneuvered. Cruz turned to Reese. "You've got 24 hours before the hammer falls. Make them count." "Thank you, sir, for everything." "Don't thank me yet. This isn't over, not by a long shot." He gestured to a waiting SUV. "Your ride is here." The SUV door opened. Maria stepped out, 63 years old, face creased with worry. And behind her, bouncing with barely contained energy, 6 years old with brown curls and her father's grin. Lily. "Mama!" She ran, full sprint, arms wide, tears streaming down her face. Reese tried to stand. Her leg buckled. She caught herself on the wheelchair. Didn't matter. Lily crashed into her anyway, threw her arms around Reese's neck and squeezed with desperate strength. "Mama, you came back, you came back, you came back." "I told you I would, sweetheart. I swore it to you." "I was so scared. Maria said you were on a trip, but I knew something was wrong. I could feel it." Reese held her daughter and let the tears come. Let everything she'd been holding back for days pour out. The fear, the pain, the certainty that she might never see Lily again. "I'm home now, baby. I'm home and I'm not going anywhere. Promise?" "Promise, no more trips, no more missions, just you and me, forever and always." Lily pulled back to look at Reese's face, saw the bandages, the sling, the wheelchair. "You're hurt." "I'm okay, just some scratches, nothing Mama can't handle." "Did you fight dragons?" Reese smiled through the tears. "Yeah, baby, I fought dragons, and I won." "I knew you would. You always win." If only that were true. They drove home in silence, Lily sitting in Reese's lap despite the seatbelt laws, neither of them willing to let go. Maria driving, not asking questions, just grateful to have them both safe. The house looked exactly the same, small, modest, perfect. Maria helped Reese inside, got her settled on the couch. Lily immediately curled up next to her, refused to leave her side. "I'll make dinner," Maria said. "You two rest." They sat together, mother and daughter, watching the afternoon sun paint the walls gold. "Mama?" "Yeah, baby?" "The news said you did something bad. They said you kidnapped someone." So Lily had seen the reports, had heard the lies, was trying to understand. "The news is wrong, sweetheart. I didn't kidnap anyone. I saved someone, a girl who was in trouble, who needed help." "Like when you help people in the army?" "Exactly like that, because that's what we do when people need us, even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous." "Is someone going to take you away, like they took Daddy?" The question broke Reese's heart. Lily had already lost her father, was terrified of losing her mother too. "No, baby, no one is taking me away, I promise. I'm staying right here with you." "But the news said..." "The news is wrong, and soon everyone is going to know they're wrong, because the truth is coming out. And the truth is that your mama did the right thing, even if some people don't understand that yet." Lily thought about that, 6-year-old logic processing complicated adult problems. "I think you did the right thing, Mama. even if no one else does. That's all that matters, Lilybug. That's all that matters. They fell asleep on the couch together, exhaustion finally catching up. Lily's head on Reese's chest, Reese's good arm wrapped around her daughter. Safe. Home. Together. For now. The news broke at 0600 the next morning. Rachel Sullivan's story. Published simultaneously across every major platform. The headline, State Department official and U.S. Senator orchestrated trafficking network selling American women into slavery. The article was devastating. 3,000 words backed by documented evidence. Bank records, communications intercepts, recordings, photographs, everything Lydia had collected. Everything that proved David Hoffman and Senator Gregory Wallace had been running a trafficking operation for 3 years. Selling American women, making millions, hiding behind diplomatic immunity and political power. The story went viral in minutes. Millions of views, tens of millions. Every news channel scrambling to cover it. Politicians demanding investigations. The FBI suddenly very interested in talking to David Hoffman and Senator Wallace. Reese watched the coverage from her couch. Lily at school. Maria hovering nervously in the kitchen. Her phone rang. Cruz. Have you seen it? I'm watching now. Sullivan did it. She burned them all. Hoffman is officially a fugitive. Interpol has issued a warrant. Wallace is being called to testify before Congress. His career is over. The trafficking network is dismantled. Cruz paused. You did it, Reese. You saved Lydia and exposed the monsters. We did it, all of us. The FBI called off your investigation, dropped all charges. You're clear. Relief flooded through her. No charges, no trial, no separation from Lily. Thank you for believing in me, Admiral. I owed you my life. This doesn't even begin to repay that debt. His voice softened. But Reese, this isn't over. Wallace knows his voice is on those recordings, knows he's going down. Men like that, they don't go quietly. What are you saying? I'm saying be careful. Keep your head down. Stay close to Lily. And if anything feels wrong, you call me immediately. Understood, sir. She hung up, stared at the news coverage. Wallace's face filling the screen, denying everything, claiming he was being framed, that the recordings were fabricated, but no one believed him. The evidence was too overwhelming, too detailed, too damning. His political career was over. His freedom was forfeit. Everything he'd built was crumbling. And men with nothing left to lose were the most dangerous kind. Reese checked the locks on every window, every door, made sure her Glock was loaded and within reach. Maybe she was being paranoid. Maybe Cruz was wrong. Or maybe somewhere out there, Senator Gregory Wallace was making plans of his own. Plans that involved silencing the woman who destroyed everything he'd built. The call came 3 days later, 1900 hours. Reese was making dinner, Lily's favorite, mac and cheese with extra butter. The phone rang, unknown number. Reese almost didn't answer, then instinct made her pick up. Mama? Lily's voice, terrified, crying. Reese's blood turned to ice. Lily? Baby, where are you? I don't know, Mama. I'm scared. There's a man, he said. The phone was ripped away. A man's voice, calm, professional. Mrs. Calloway, you have something that belongs to Senator Wallace. The USB recordings. We have something that belongs to you. Where is my daughter? Reese's voice was arctic. Safe, for now. You have 1 hour. Bring the recordings to this address. Come alone. No police, no Admiral Cruz, or we kill her. An address came through text. Virginia Estate, 40 minutes away. If you heard her, 1 hour, Mrs. Calloway. The clock is ticking. The line went dead. Reese stared at the phone. Lily had been at school, safe, protected. She called the school, no answer. Called Maria, voicemail. Called Cruz. They have Lily. Wallace's people kidnapped her. Jesus Christ, Reese, don't go alone. Let me send. No time. If I don't show in an hour, they kill her. Then at least take the tracker. And Reese? Cruz's voice cracked. Bring her home. I will, no matter what it takes. Reese hung up, grabbed her Glock. Extra magazines. The GPS tracker Cruz had given her weeks ago. Slipped it into the lining of her boot. Then she got in her truck and drove toward the fight of her life. The estate was abandoned. Crumbling mansions surrounded by overgrown fields. The kind of place where people disappeared and no one ever asked questions. Reese arrived at 1953, 7 minutes to spare. She parked and walked to the front door, hands visible, weapon holstered. The door swung open, revealing darkness inside. She stepped through. The door slammed shut behind her, locks engaging. Mrs. Calloway, a voice echoed from somewhere deep in the house. Right on time. I appreciate punctuality. Footsteps, slow, deliberate. A figure emerged from the shadows. Senator Gregory Wallace, dressed in a tailored suit, gray hair perfectly combed, the picture of political respectability. Behind him stood two men with guns, professional contractors, the kind who did jobs that needed to be deniable. And between them, tied to a chair, a gag in her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Lily. Mama! The word was muffled by the gag, but Reese heard it like a scream. Every cell in her body wanted to rush forward, to tear through those men, to wrap her arms around her daughter and never let go. But she forced herself to stay still. Let her go, Wallace. I don't think so, Wallace smiled, the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. You've caused me a great deal of trouble, Mrs. Calloway. My career is over. My freedom is forfeit. All because of you. You trafficked innocent women. You sold them like property. You're a monster. I'm a businessman. Supply and demand. There's a market for certain commodities. I simply facilitated the transactions. You kidnapped my daughter. That's personal. Yes, little Lily. Wallace walked over to the chair and stroked Lily's hair. She flinched away, whimpering. Such a sweet child. I'd hate for anything to happen to her. Reese felt rage boiling in her chest. If you touch her, you'll what? Kill me? You're outnumbered, outgunned, in a location no one knows about. Wallace laughed. Face it, Mrs. Calloway, you've lost. Then why am I here? Because I want to offer you a deal, a simple one. You make a phone call. Tell that journalist Rachel Sullivan to retract her story. Admit it was all fabricated. Destroy the recordings. And if I do, then you and Lily walk out of here, free and clear, no charges, no prosecution. You go back to your little life, and we never see each other again. Reese looked at Lily, at her terrified eyes, at the tears cutting tracks through the dirt on her face. And if I don't? Wallace's expression went cold. Then your daughter joins the others, the ones who disappeared, the ones no one ever found. He pulled a phone from his pocket. One call, Mrs. Calloway. That's all it takes. The room fell silent. Reese stood frozen, caught between two impossible choices. Save her daughter and let a monster go free, or fight for justice and watch her little girl die. She thought about Sarah, her wife, the promise she'd made as she lay dying. Protect her, Reese, whatever it takes. She thought about the 12 women Wallace had sold, about Lydia, about the network that would keep operating if she walked away now. She thought about what kind of mother she wanted to be, what kind of example, and then she made her choice. Lily, baby, look at me. Lily lifted her head. Her eyes found Reese's. Remember what I told you about being brave? Lily nodded slowly. I need you to be brave now. Can you do that for me? Another nod, stronger this time. Close your eyes, sweetheart, and don't open them until I say so. Lily squeezed her eyes shut. Reese looked at Wallace. You want me to make a call? Fine, I'll make a call. She reached slowly into her pocket and pulled out her phone. Wallace's guards tensed, but the senator held up a hand. Letter, I want to hear this. Reese dialed Rachel's number. She answered on the first ring. Reese, where are you? The story's ready to... Kill it. Silence. Then, what? I said kill it. Delete everything. The recordings, the documents, all of it. Reese, you can't be serious. This is... I'm serious. Do it now. A long pause. Wallace was smiling, watching, savoring his victory. Are you in trouble? Rachel asked slowly. No, I changed my mind. Wallace isn't worth it. None of this is worth it. Just let it go, Rachel. Please. Another pause. Then, okay, Reese, if that's what you want, I'll kill the story. It's done. Thank you. Reese hung up. Wallace clapped his hands. Excellent. I knew you'd see reason. A mother's love is a powerful thing. We had a deal. Let my daughter go. Of course. A deal is a deal. Wallace gestured to his guards. Cut her loose. One of the guards moved toward Lily, knife in hand. And that's when Reese made her move. She'd been watching the guards since she walked in, noting their positions, their stances, the way they held their weapons. Both were amateurs, hired muscle, not trained soldiers. They relied on their guns and their numbers. That was their mistake. Reese lunged forward, grabbing the nearest guard's wrist and twisting. The gun discharged into the ceiling. Reese drove her elbow into the man's throat, dropping him. Spun toward the second guard. He raised his weapon. Too slow. Reese was already inside his reach, already driving a knee into his gut, already ripping the gun from his hands. The guard doubled over. Reese brought the weapon down on the back of his skull. Both guards were down in less than 4 seconds. Reese aimed the gun at Wallace's chest. How? Wallace stumbled backward, face pale with shock. You were supposed to be... I was never unarmed. I just wanted you to think I was. You're bluffing. You won't shoot me. You're right, Reese stepped closer. But I am a mother, and you threaten my daughter. She grabbed Wallace by the collar, slammed him against the wall. The story you had me kill? The story you told Rachel to delete? Wallace's eyes widened. Wallace isn't worth it. That was her cue. Reese leaned close. Right now, as we speak, every major news outlet in the country is receiving an update. Your phone call threatening me, this kidnapping, everything recorded. She pulled the GPS tracker from her boot, showed him the blinking red light. Admiral Cruz has been listening to everything. FBI is on their way. You're done, Wallace. His legs gave out. He slid down the wall, landing in a heap. You can't. This is justice. Reese turned away from him, moved to Lily, cut her bonds with the fallen guard's knife, pulled the gag from her mouth. Then Lily was in her arms, crying, trembling, clinging to her like she'd never let go. Mama, Mama, I was so scared. I know, baby, I know. Reese held her tight. But you were brave. You were so brave. I'm so proud of you. I kept my eyes closed, just like you said. That's my girl. Behind them, Wallace was trying to crawl toward the door. Reese didn't bother stopping him. There was nowhere to run, not anymore. The sound of sirens cut through the night. Colorado Springs Police Department, FBI. Admiral Cruz had sent everyone. Reese carried Lily out of the mansion and into the night air. The stars were visible now. The clouds had parted, revealing a sky full of light. Look, Lily, she pointed upward. See those stars? That's where eagles fly. Lily looked up, her face still wet with tears. Are you an eagle, Mama? I used to be, Reese kissed her forehead. But now I'm just your mom, and that's all I ever want to be. The next few days were chaos. Wallace was arrested at the scene. His contractors cooperated immediately. Hoffman was captured trying to cross into Mexico. The trafficking network collapsed completely. 23 women rescued. Safe houses shut down. Buyers arrested across 3 continents. Justice. Real justice. for Lydia and all the others. 2 weeks after the attack, Reese walked into Peterson Air Force Base cafeteria for the last time. Not in a janitor's uniform, in jeans and a flannel shirt. Civilian clothes for a civilian woman. The room fell silent when she entered. 40 officers rising to their feet, kitchen staff coming out from behind the counter. Everyone who'd seen her humiliated by Admiral Cruz that first day. Everyone who'd learned the truth about Silent Six. Admiral Cruz stepped forward. Ladies and gentlemen, Reese Calloway, the woman who exposed a trafficking network, who saved Lydia Bishop, who defended her daughter against a United States senator, a true American hero. The room erupted in applause, standing ovation, genuine respect and admiration. Reese raised her hand for quiet. I didn't come for applause, I came to thank you, and to say one last thing before Lily and I leave Colorado for good. We'll miss you, Cruz said. I want everyone here to remember something. I'm not special. I'm not superhuman. I'm just a mom who loves her daughter enough to fight when fighting is necessary. Every parent in this room has that same strength, that same courage. Don't let anyone tell you different. She turned to leave, then paused. And Admiral, take care of this place. Take care of your people. Some of them are heroes too. They just haven't had a reason to show it yet. Outside, Lily waited in the truck, Maria beside her, both packed and ready for the long drive north. Reese climbed into the driver's seat. Her shoulder still hurt, her legs still ached, but she was alive. Lily was safe, and they had a whole new life waiting in Montana. Ready, sweetheart? Ready, Mama. Are there really horses? Lots of horses, and mountains, and rivers, everything I promised. And no more bad guys? Reese thought about that. About Wallace in federal prison. About Hoffman facing trial. About the trafficking network burned to ash. No more bad guys, baby. We're done fighting dragons. They drove north, away from Colorado Springs, away from Peterson, away from everything that had tried to destroy them. Toward Montana, toward mountains and horses and open sky, toward a ranch where Lily could run free, where Reese could finally rest. The rearview mirror showed the city getting smaller, the base disappearing behind them, the old life fading into memory. Lily fell asleep in the back seat, clutching her stuffed elephant, dreaming of horses and rainbows and a mama who always came home. Reese drove and watched the mountains grow larger on the horizon, watched the landscape change from desert to forest to alpine meadows. Watched the world transform into something new, something peaceful, something worth all the blood and pain and sacrifice. Silent Six was finally laid to rest. No more call signs, no more missions, no more war, just Reese Calloway, mother, survivor, woman who'd fought through hell and brought her daughter safely to the other side. The sun was setting when they crossed into Montana, painting the sky in shades of gold and red and purple. The kind of sunset that promised tomorrow would be better. The kind of sunset that felt like coming home. Lily stirred, opened her eyes, looked out the window at mountains rising into clouds. Mama, look, it's beautiful. Yeah, baby, it really is. Is this where we're going to live? This is where we're going to live, where we're going to build a new life, where you're going to grow up safe and strong and brave. Like you? Reese smiled. Better than me, sweetheart. So much better than me. They drove on into the gathering dusk, mother and daughter, heading toward mountains and horses and all the tomorrows they'd fought so hard to reach. Behind them, the sun set on Colorado, on Peterson Air Force Base, on the life of Silent Six. Ahead, the stars were starting to appear, bright against the darkening sky, infinite, eternal, promising that no matter how dark the night, light always returned. Reese reached back and took Lily's hand, held it tight. I love you, sweetheart, more than all the stars in the sky. I love you too, Mama, forever and always. Forever and always. The promise that mattered most. The promise Reese had kept through bullets and blood and everything the world threw at them. The truck rolled on through Montana darkness, headlights cutting through the night, two souls heading home at last. The war was over, the mission complete, the dragon slain, and somewhere in the mountains ahead, a new life was waiting. Quiet, peaceful, safe. The life Silent Six had always deserved, but never thought she'd find. Until a 6-year-old girl with her father's grin taught her that some things are worth fighting for. Some promises are worth keeping. Some dragons must be faced so others can live free. Reese Calloway had lived it, had embodied it, had proved it true, and now, finally, gratefully, she could rest. The stars shone bright overhead, eagles soared on mountain winds, and two survivors drove on toward tomorrow. Together, safe, home.